Gaps in employment are not the end of the world on your resume, but they can muddy the waters with a potential employer. The last thing you want is to get labeled as unreliable or a job hopper. Hi, I'm Debi Douma-Herren, HR consultant and career strategist with Freesumes.com. While you can't rewrite your career history, there are ways to put a positive spin on those gaps in your resume. So let's talk about how you do that. First, let's chat about how employers react to gaps in employment. Many believe that gaps in a resume are viewed as an absolute deal breaker by employers. But let's put things into perspective for a second. Plenty of highly successful people took sabbaticals, and some working parents have chosen to pause their careers for focusing on the family. Other valid reasons behind an employment gap on a resume could be personal health issue, taking care of elderly family members, pursuing education, relocation, being laid off, or working as a freelancer. These reasons are pretty common, and most employers won't be put off as much as you might imagine. Applicants who address their employment gaps in the resume are more likely to be called in for an interview compared to those that don't address these gaps. Now let's focus on how to explain those gaps in employment. Here's the deal. When it comes to applying for a new job, most employers will be more interested in your most recent work experience, training, and achievements. So if your employment gap happened 3 to 5 positions ago, you can confidently leave it out and focus on highlighting your most recent accomplishments. Explaining gaps in more recent employment may be a bit more challenging, but still very manageable. I'm going to cover 4 strategies to help you make those gaps almost disappear in the eyes of the recruiter. First, conceal short-term gaps within the role you had at that time. For example, if you fell ill and had to take a medical leave for 6 months in 2016, then returned to the same employment status, it doesn't even need to be mentioned. Another way to conceal a gap is to omit employment months and include only years on your resume. If you've had some great experience spanning over a decade, let's say, you can use this method to conceal small gaps under 12 months. For example, instead of listing your employment status as March 2016 to May 2018, you would eliminate the months and state only 2016 to 2018 on your resume. Some recruiters may be a bit suspicious, so make sure to sell them on your core competencies and accomplishments for each role. It's best to honestly speak about your career progression, so a third way to address gaps is to leave a quick note explaining the gap. Most recruiters are guilty of skimming resumes before reading them properly. So when they see a gap and no explanation, they might make certain assumptions that may not play in your favor. To avoid that, you can try to incorporate your gap within one of the roles. Here's how it can look. The fourth strategy is to use a functional resume format. If you have more than one employment gap that you'd rather not highlight, try a functional resume format instead. Unlike traditional chronological resumes, a functional resume emphasizes your overall qualifications, transferable skills, and first-hand experiences without linking them to a specific work entry. This resume format is less preferable among recruiters, but it can help you get your foot in the door. To pull off a functional resume, you need to write a strong objective statement, provide a detailed summary, create a solid list of skills that match the employer's requirements, and make sure to complement your resume with a compelling cover letter. At the end of the day, the best approach to addressing gaps in employment is being honest and confident. Most employers can understand your decision to stay at home with the kids or can appreciate the degree you pursued during a time off from work. Remember, your main goal is to communicate the reasons why you chose to leave the workforce. You don't need to provide excuses or over-justify your decision. Just communicate. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it and click subscribe to get more helpful tips.